Oh hey!
Oh, hey!
Welcome back to the Fermentation Adventure. This week we are giving you another delicious and easy recipe that you can make with your ginger bug starter. We are making watermelon soda, refreshing and bubbly.
Yes!
You can go from watermelon to soda in a day and a half. This really is more of like a refreshing spritzer soda. Wow, that's good. Join us on this journey to explore the world of fermentation.
If you'd like to learn how to make ferments like these, start now by clicking subscribe and hitting that bell so you don't miss a thing.
It is watermelon season. Yeah, we've been to our farmer's market.
And they're cheap right now.
There's nothing more refreshing on a summer day than a big bite of juicy watermelon, except a nice bubbly soda with watermelon flavor. How can you possibly beat that?
And it can be a little tricky. There's a couple things that we really want to make sure we get through in this video because we've tried it a couple times and it didn't taste so good. So now we've got a good recipe for you.
Toward the end, you definitely want to pay attention because there's a tipping balance with watermelon soda. It can be deliciously heavenly or, yeah, you'll see. Today, we are making two recipes actually. Fermented straight watermelon soda.
And then we're gonna make it a different way and add some mint.
From the garden.
From the garden.
And we're making 1 quart of each recipe, and each 1 quart recipe makes 2 bottles of soda.
Woo!
It's gonna be good. Starting with our straight watermelon soda, the first ingredient is, of course,
watermelon. Oh, it's my favorite. We're going to be using 4 cups of watermelon. I always pick out ripe watermelon. You can tell by, first of all, on the end where the stem was coming from, you don't want the stem still on there because then it means it naturally fell off. You don't want something that's been picked before it was actually ripe. No big spots. You don't want any dents. You don't want anything soft. You want a nice firm watermelon. I also like to get one that has some stripes. So not too much of one color. It's also a good sign to have a little bit of that yellow patch, just as long as it's not too big on the watermelon, because that way it shows that the watermelon's been sitting in the field ripening long enough. And also you want to kind of pop it a little bit and make sure it has a nice solid sound, not too hollow. I heard that.
You don't have to buy a seedless watermelon because we're gonna strain all of this. So you can buy a seeded watermelon and save a little bit of money.
You do save money because they're usually twice the size and either less money or the same.
So now we gotta cut this baby up. So I'm just gonna cut off the end and then just cut a 1-inch round.
Look at that beautiful color. So we're gonna cut it into chunks and actually measure it to make sure that we have about what we need. Get back over here.
And I want to eat it right now.
I know, it's really tough.
It doesn't matter what size chunks that you cut this into.
But I don't like to waste any of this watermelon. We can use all of it. So I'm gonna keep this watermelon rind for later.
You can use this entire fruit. That is so amazing.
It is. Watermelon is an amazing fruit.
We are almost there.
All right, we have our 4 cups of watermelon chunks. What we gotta do next is blend it. Any blender will work because watermelon is like water. It actually blends really easily. So let's put this in a blender and see how much juice we have. We're using our Vitamix today. It's a little bit overkill, but that's what we have. You can actually use the plunger if you want, or if you have a regular blender, you can do like me too. Just kind of occasionally pack it down so that the blades will catch all of that watermelon. So what we're looking for is actually 2 cups of watermelon juice that's been blended up.
The next step is straining this out. The watermelon juice, it has a whole lot of pulp in it. So what we want to do is actually strain it through either a cheesecloth or what we like is called a nut milk bag. This is really for making almond milk or cashew milk or anything like that. It's very fine.
Very fine.
Really strong too, so you can really squeeze it quite a bit. So before you strain this, you have to wash your hands thoroughly because you don't want any kind of microorganisms going into that watermelon juice.
He's gonna hold the nut milk bag and I'm gonna pour this right in.
We have this large bowl to catch all of the juice. So now that we have that in there, you can see it's already starting to pour out. Now you just want to give that a gentle squeeze. It's amazing how much watermelon juice is actually in the watermelon. Usually what I like to do is give it a little twist at the end so it traps it all inside there. Look at that, 4 cups turns into basically nothing there.
Oh my gosh, it's all sifted through. When you're done with your nut milk bag, you just gotta keep it clean. And so I just turned it inside out and I'm going to rinse it out. And then we're just gonna hang it to dry because this is a very light mesh and won't take very long to dry.
So we're ready for the next step, and that's to get our fermentation vessel ready. So here we go. This 1 quart mason jar is going to produce 2 bottles of soda. So you can see we've only filled about half of the mason jar. So the next ingredient is non-chlorinated water.
And we're gonna use 1 cup of non-chlorinated water.
Check out that color.
This will change.
We still have a little bit of room left in here, so the next ingredient is sugar. And we need 1/4 a cup of sugar.
You can use any type of sugar. We like to use raw cane sugar. Give it a good stir because it's hard to tell when that sugar is dissolved. And this may surprise you. I mean, why are we adding sugar to something that's already so sweet?
So the sugar that we're adding is actually going to be the fuel for our starter culture.
So the ginger bug is gonna chomp down on that sugar. It's eating it. And that means over time, as you ferment, it actually is becoming less sweet.
And that's a process of lacto-fermentation. That's making soda the old-fashioned way.
And for those of you who've been following some of our other sodas, you know that it is full of probiotics, so much better than store-bought. And a lot of times, you can't even buy these flavors in the store. So the fact that you can make it at home means you can make whatever flavor you want. Now it looks like there's still some room in this jar, so I believe we're ready for the next ingredient.
The final ingredient is our ginger bug starter.
Ooh, that's the most important part.
Do yourself a favor and check out this video and make a ginger bug starter. You can make all kinds of awesome sodas.
Ta-da! Our beloved ginger bug. It's very active, and we've also kind of maintained it over time. And if you check out our Q&A video on ginger bug and ginger ale, you'll see more about how to maintain your ginger bug. But some of the things we've done, we've added water, we've removed the pieces, we made sure to feed it regularly. So we know that this thing is super active and works.
But the one thing that we have never done is we've never given it a name.
Wait a minute. Okay, I want to know. Do you guys have a name for your ginger bug? If you do, put them in the comments below. I really want to know. Ooh, smells so good.
Ooh, I can smell the ginger from here.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good.
Those two are going to be a perfect couple.
I can't wait. All right, I'm going to give this a stir. I like to get the ginger bug out by putting it on the side and kind of siphoning this in on the side.
All right, so we need 1/4 a cup of our ginger bug starter. All we have to do is give it a stir. So now that we're ready for the fermentation process, we need to cover this. Now normally you can put like a towel or put a cap on it or something like that, but we like to use these special silicone fermentation lids.
I'm gonna give it a nice little pink one for watermelon.
As the ginger bug starts to eat all the sugars and release all of those gases want to go somewhere. They're going to be pushing up. But if you have a tight lid on this, it's going to create a lot of pressure in this mason jar. This mason jar is not built for pressure. So we have these little silicone lids that have a hole on top. So the more gases push up, the more oxygen is pushed out of the jar, and the less likely you're going to get any kind of mold.
Now that we've finished putting together this traditional watermelon soda, we're ready to move on to our next recipe, and that is a 1 quart jar of our mint watermelon soda. So let's get into that one. We still need about 4 cups of watermelon chunks.
So we're ready for the next ingredient. Follow us to the garden.
We've had our mojito plant growing for a while. I mean, mint. We're gonna put about maybe a dozen or so of our nice little mint leaves. This is to taste. So next we have to blend these mint leaves into our watermelon juice. So we're gonna do that with a blender.
Now we gotta strain it through our nut milk bag. Now like before, we're measuring out our 2 cups of watermelon juice.
So our next ingredient then is our 1 cup of non-chlorinated water. We also have to put in our 1/4 cup sugar. Make sure it gets all dissolved. And now we gotta put our 4th cup of ginger bug.
Last thing we need to do is put a fermentation lid on this jar.
All right, and we're gonna use green because we used mint, of course.
So we're gonna take these through the fermentation process and show you what to expect during fermentation.
Well guys, this is incredible. Normally we check on these after the first 24 hours, but it has been only a little over 12 hours and already we're seeing some huge action. Our fermentation lid is bowing because there are so many bubbles. Even the sediment from the bottom is being pushed to the top. This can actually pop off. Not a big deal, but sometimes it can take some of the stuff with it, so it'll go boop, and we don't want it to do that. So we're gonna release a little pressure. And now we'll wait and see what it looks like at 24 hours.
After 24 hours, there's a steady stream of bubbles. We try it and think the taste is perfect, but we'll ferment it longer to see what happens. After 2 full days, there's still some bubbles, but we find the taste is starting to get too sour. After 3 full days, it appears to be nearly done fermenting. Reluctantly, we give it a taste test and find it's way too sour.
With this knowledge, we decide we'll get the best taste if we bottle after 24 hours of primary fermentation. It's still pretty active, so we won't be bottling it for long. Each quart makes 2 bottles, but one will be our tester bottle. These glass bottles are built for pressure, but can still explode if the pressure builds too much. Our food grade number 1 plastic tester bottle will give us an idea of how much pressure is building inside the glass bottle.
There was a lot of give to the tester bottle at first, but after only 8 hours, it was rock solid and ready to drink. In fact, only bottling for 4 hours would have been much safer. We have a side-by-side comparison of watermelon soda at different stages of fermentation.
This is very exciting because there's a key component with watermelon soda. Once you go past a certain amount of days, it's just not drinkable.
It's a balance. If you go over the edge, it's going to be absolutely disgusting.
Yes, so the tipping point for us, we found, was around 24 hours of primary fermentation.
So we have this one, which is 1 day of fermentation, 24 hours, plus about 8 hours of bottling. This one we have is exactly 3 days, and we hadn't bottled it yet. Oh boy, whoa. That is rock solid.
I'm really nervous about how crazy this is going to be. One of the things we found about watermelon soda is it is incredibly active. Like, be very, very careful when you're bottling this. In fact, you could really just skip the bottling process. When it's done with primary fermentation, put it right in the refrigerator.
The reason why this is so explosive is because we didn't go all the way through primary fermentation because of the problem with the flavor.
Yeah, you'll see when we taste that one. We're gonna give you a taste test on that, though I really don't want to try it again. It's not great.
Yeah. So let's open these bottles and see just how crazy this ferment is.
Whoa! Oh my gosh, I didn't want a repeat of the ginger ale in my eyes. With how crazy this tester bottle is, what it means is please be very, very careful when opening your glass bottle. That's going to be very dangerous. You might want to go outside or over the sink. Let's check out the glass bottle now so we can have a taste test. Ow! Ah! Hey, it's in my eye! Why me? Oh my gosh. What we recommend is before opening it, put it in the refrigerator for a few hours. It'll calm down a little bit. Whew. But it's been sitting on the counter for us while we're filming. Woohoo! Guess what? I'm gonna also do this. Here we go. I'm really nervous. Hey, at least it doesn't burn like the ginger ale did. Go ahead and rebottle it. So that way it sits in a bottle in the refrigerator. Here it comes.
All right, well that was exciting.
I'm still alive.
Now we get to taste this.
I'm so excited.
Oh, it smells really good. It looks really good too.
It looks wonderful, beautiful color. It still smells like watermelon right now. So for this short amount of fermentation, it smells great.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
That's so good.
I would say that's very refreshing.
It's still very carbonated, even though it actually only bottled for 8 hours.
I definitely still taste the sweetness, but it definitely has that fermented, almost beer-like quality to it.
It's very light and fruity.
Ooh, just a subtle taste of mint. Very good. I would definitely recommend putting the mint in. It adds just that little bit extra je ne sais quoi.
Aside from that, we have also our, you can see it's really, really different, our version where we let it go for 3 days of full fermentation. It smells horrible.
Maybe even like sake.
Really, there is a tipping point with watermelon soda. Don't pass it. It's not worth it.
She couldn't even swallow it. It can't be that bad.
I was trying to help him. Yep.
You know, for the first time ever, I think we've made a fermented soda that tastes absolutely awful. So with watermelon soda, don't go past, I would say, 2 days.
But what this shows us is you may not want to leave your watermelon soda in the fridge very long, even though it's in a bottle. It's going to continue fermenting at a very slow pace, but we can see that even between the second and third day, it crosses the line. So be careful. You might as well go ahead and drink that soda up as soon as you can.
Yeah, it tastes good now, but in a few weeks, it might taste like this. It actually makes me wonder how alcoholic that is.
Because it really smells and tastes very strong.
It looks beautiful. You guys, we know you have been dying to know how much alcohol are in these naturally fermented sodas. So we got a hydrometer kit so we can measure what that alcohol percentage is. We're just gonna fill it up, float our little hydrometer, and we're gonna test what the specific gravity is when we start.
So it looks like our initial reading is 1.04.
And then test it when we end, and then we'll know about what the percentage of alcohol is.
It looks like 1.016. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. And then we're gonna use the calculation to find that our alcohol content is already 3.2%.
You know, it's really amazing. We're drinking this beautiful watermelon soda, and you can make something very different with watermelon. You can either go from soda or you can make pickles.
Isn't that something? So this entire watermelon, you can make use of all of it and use the rind. And I have it put to the side so I can do that. If you want to learn how to do that, check out our video on watermelon rind pickles. But yeah, you can have something so sweet or something so salty.
If you like this video, give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you want some more awesome recipes like these. We appreciate every one of you. Share this with your friends and get out there
and create some culture. What can I say? Watermelon soda, naturally fermented.
What more can you say?
What more can I say?